The media now confronting the age-old question about President Biden. In an interview with CNN from the weekend, the president is asked if it is time for him to step aside, allow the next generation of Democrats to get their shot. Well, considering the Democratic frontrunner would be in his mid-80s during his second term, here is the question and answer on this.
Many of these people do say, and these are ardent supporters of yours, the next thing he should do is step aside. Why are they wrong?
Not right or wrong. I think the world is changing, and I think there is one thing that comes with age if you've been honest about it your whole life, and that is some wisdom.
It's going to be his answer now. We've heard it before. Clay Travis here to share some wisdom of his own. And Clay, good morning.
Good morning.
To you. There is no doubt that some Democrats want him to hand the reins over tonight. I'm not so sure he's going to do that. But sometimes when you get an interview like this and you pop the balloon on that question, does it change things or not?
Yeah, I think it does, Bill and Dana, and good morning to you all as well. Appreciate you having me on the show. I think there are several things that are all coming together here that I believe, guys, is evidence of why Joe Biden's not going to be the nominee in 2024. I think he's going to step down. Let me give you a couple of these threads. Over the weekend, I'm sure you guys saw the New York Times, Maureen Dowd absolutely savaged Joe Biden over his failure to acknowledge the 7th grandchild that he has in Arkansas. In fact, his insistence to tell everyone in the White House to refer to him only having 6 grandchildren, which is a lie. The Atlantic, liberal left icon publication, had a piece arguing that Joe Biden needs to step down. As you mentioned, the CNN interview, again, even with lots of prep, Biden doesn't appear to be up to the job. Guys, even the pictures that came out and the video of Biden kind of dragging around a chair on the beach over the weekend, he looked frail, he looked incompetent, he looked not capable of doing the job. We'll see how this trip to Europe goes. But also, as you began this segment, all of the continuing evidence that surrounds this situation as it pertains to the investigations coming out of the House, all of that is adding up. I don't think there's any doubt at all that the amount of negative attention is growing. And as you mentioned, Bill, he's going to be in his mid-80s if he were to win. I think they want to have an open primary season. They don't want Kamala to be the default nominee. And if they're going to do that, I think Biden needs to announce LBJ style in the next 2 months that he's not going to be running anymore.
Let me just go through. You read our minds, which we love. Here's the headline and the subtitle from the Atlantic piece. This is Elliot Cohen writing, "Step aside, Joe Biden. The president has no business running for office at age 80. Then let's go to the New York Times. You mentioned Maureen Dowd. What's interesting about her piece is that it's not just her opinion. She was referring to her sister, who had written a letter to Joe Biden. Her sister has supported Joe Biden for many, many years, but she is dismayed at the president not recognizing the grandchild's. And the end of the piece says this: the president can't defend Hunter on all his other messes and draw the line on accepting one little girl. The president's cold shoulder and heart is counter to every message he has sent for decades, and it's out of sync with the America he wants to continue to lead." Which leads me to just one more thing, Clay, which is AOC endorsed Biden on the Pod Save America podcast, but it does not sound like her heart is in it. Listen here.
President's only primary opponents are Marianne Williamson and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Will you be supporting Joe Biden for re-election?
I believe given that field, yes. I think he's done quite well, given the limitations that we have. I do think that there are ebbs and flows, as there are in any presidency.
And Clay, this is amongst Democrats.
Yeah, I think, look, they don't want the biggest protection right now, guys, and this is crazy. The biggest protection to Joe Biden right now is that Kamala Harris is even less popular than Joe Biden is. Because I believe, and I don't know if you guys agree, that when Joe Biden was elected in 2020, I think the expectation was, hey, I'm going to restore normalcy to the White House, which he hasn't done. But I'm going to step down and pass the baton to the next generation of leaders, to Kamala Harris. She will be the heir apparent going forward. But she has failed. She is even worse than he is. And as a result, they don't want Biden to step down. And by step down, I don't mean leave office. I mean announce that he's not going to run again, stepping down from the race. They don't want Kamala to be the default nominee. They want to have a primary season. And if that is going to occur, then Biden needs to step down as a candidate in 2024 sometime this fall. And I just don't see any way that physically he's going to be up to this running campaign. Remember, he didn't have to run really in 2020. They hit him in the basement. I don't think they're going to be able to do that anymore. I think deep down Democrats know it. They don't want him to run. They want a competition, which is why I think sometime in the early fall, Biden will announce, Dana, just like back in 1968 we saw with Lyndon Johnson, that he's not going to run. I didn't even mention, by the way, the strength of counter candidates. Look, RFK Jr. has got a decent amount of support, and he's not even being acknowledged by Biden. They're not even letting him get out there and do any of the debates. Same thing with Marianne Williamson. At some point, I think Gavin Newsom is going to step into this fray. And I think ultimately Gavin Newsom's going to be the nominee for Democrats in 2024.
Okay, all right, man, you're on record. Early fall, maybe you're right. But so far he has resisted, and he has said that wisdom is the key to managing all these issues. Clay, nice to see you. Have a great week. Clay Travis.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.